Hey everybody, it's week number 2, and I've got some awesome emails from people who are really expressing some of their concerns, their anxieties, feeling a bit overwhelmed, and that is completely normal. So are you feeling that way? If you're rocking it, great. You might not need to listen to this video. If you're feeling even this tiniest bit anxious about an online class, tiny bit overwhelmed, not sure about maybe something, let's just figure it out right now, okay? And if you're still a little anxious after this short video, please email me right away and let me know. We can schedule a time to do a Zoom meeting, a little video chat, or just converse in email. So this is when you sign in. This should be very familiar to you. I want to explain a few things. Some things to find on the homepage to make it really easy for you. And then you should by now, just as soon as you log into the class, go straight to the modules page, right? You might want to go to the announcements if you're not getting it directly to your email. I'm trying to make sure to put some stuff in there just as we're getting settled. But go to the modules page. If you're thinking you're missing something, if you're not exactly sure, if you're like, man, maybe I'm missing an assignment, first off, don't be stressed about it. Just email me and we'll figure it out. But you can figure it out really easily by going to your grades. And you click on that. I'll click on it really fast here so you can see kind of what it looks like. And look at that, I'm missing 3 assignments. I'm not doing so good. I have 0%. All of you are doing better than me right now, as student Jesse. So yeah, you could click on the assignment right there and it'll take you there. So if you're figuring out that you have a 0, once I'm grading it, I grade on Thursdays and Fridays. So you should be starting to get some more grading today and tomorrow. So you can go in here and check it out, and you can see how you can bolster your grade up. But this is a great place just to make sure you're not missing anything. So don't worry about that. When you're on this front home page, and I change this every week, or I try to change this every week, just to give you an overview of what's the week's going to be about. So, of course, we're looking at Columbus. So we got to talk about and connect it to what's happening in the world today with statues being taken down, right? Why are these statues being taken down? Why is this discoverer of America coming down? So that's for you to discuss and talk about. But I always have right here some quick links, some things just to make sure you're right on task. So, before you even get started with week 2, have you got the textbook checked out? And I think a lot of you do. If you're missing that, let me know. But if you click on that, it takes you right to the link to download the textbook. And I know some of you, if you don't want to do to read it online, completely understandable. Get yourself the cheapest copy you can find on Amazon. Doesn't matter what edition, as long as it's volume 1 or combined volume. Okay, volume 2 is like too late in the class. Okay. The second part is I'll put in the discussion from the week before. So if you haven't done the Unsung Heroes, the link's right there. As always, and no one's really done it yet, but it can be so useful for you. And don't work alone in this stuff. And, sometimes you're feeling a bit isolated or you're not exactly sure how to answer something. Just make it a habit to go into our coffee house. That's a place to just throw ideas around. Throw in, vent. It's not for a place that I'll go into too often. I'll check it every once in a while, but vent away. If you don't want to do an assignment or if it's too much work or, there's some beauty in that. But even better than that is to bond in a positive way by bouncing around ideas and taking it a little bit further. Maybe you have some links of some sites or something that popped up on Facebook or Instagram or something that you want to be able to share the picture there that's really related to our class. That's a great place to do it so everyone can kind of see and just go beyond the classroom. Maybe you have some things in common. Maybe you're doing something really cool. That's a great place to post it. And that's why I want to go on there, because I want to see some of the stuff that brings out your personality, who you are. Sometimes online classes, they kind of miss that, don't they? You just have the assignment, post it, and then that's it. I want to know who you are. And so seeing those pictures of you that you posted, that's really helpful. And that coffee house is just a place to just think about the stuff and take it to the next level, or add your own personal flair to it, or even just share what's happening in your own life. So I love the coffee house for that, okay? And I encourage you to do it, use it, check it out, see what people have, because if they have questions, maybe you can answer it, and that's just really helpful and cool too. The other part is then it takes you to the modules page. So I always have a link there, makes it easy, but also Just go straight to the modules page. That's the button you should just be able to click on right away. If you scroll down, now you have week 1. Let's go to week 2 since we're there. You did the survey. If you haven't done the survey, you probably won't be able to see week 2. So if you're thinking, hey, we don't have anything posted yet, it's because you got to do the survey. So, make sure if there's anything posted, make sure to do it, and then it'll bring up the next thing, okay? So if that's where you're at, if you're wondering, cool, we have nothing to do this week. No, you always do. Just do the survey, and that'll make this come alive, all right? So, yeah, check that. Let me reset leave student views so then you can see what's going on here. So let's go to week 2. All right. Now, when you're on week 2, please, I make it really simple this way because everything you possibly need for the week is going to be right there on the modules page. I won't miss anything. I won't put anything somewhere else. You could do everything right there. So, from the very, very beginning, just start at the first page and work your way down. But if you got my announcement before, what I do recommend you doing, and this kind of throws it off a little bit, but scroll down to the bottom, and when are our discussions due? That's right, Fridays and Mondays. You got it. Fridays and Mondays, discussions are due, right? That doesn't mean that you start on Friday, because that's just too much work. The idea really is it opens on Monday, if you could get it all done Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday, guess what? You're done for the rest of the week, right? You don't have to worry about till Monday. So don't wait till the last minute. Just get it done early. And then when they're posted, when it's due, when Friday's due, then you can go back on there and do the comments on other posts. Makes it really easy for you. So try to do that if you can. But what I recommend doing is go onto the week number 2, scroll to the bottom, go onto the discussion first, right? And then you can kind of see what the questions are going to be. What I would recommend is cut this. So there's all the questions, right, that you're going to need. Copy it, and then put it on a Word document. That way you have it there, and then as you go through the whole week, you could write notes on it. You could say, that's really good for that question. That's a good point for there. And then you don't have to go back. You're kind of making notes as you go. Does that make sense? Picking up what I'm throwing down? So that could be useful. So do that with both. Then when you go to the highlights video, are you watching my highlights video? Those are a couple minutes long that tell you exactly the main points of the week, okay? Gets you an idea of when you get to the textbook, when you get to the lectures, what are the main themes to look out for? Don't try to get all the other noise. Try to focus it in on what A, the questions are for the discussion, and B, what I'm saying in my highlights videos, okay? So some of those are going to be really kind of useful in that way, I hope, but all of them are going to lay out what to get for, what to focus on. And then there's always lectures. My goal is for you to have different types of learning material, right? So some of you work really well just getting to the textbook, getting to the readings and rocking that, and you'll get everything you need out of that. That's fine. That's wonderful. You could do a lot with that. Some of you, that's the stressful part. Sitting there with a textbook with 30 pages to read and so much information is overwhelming. So first, don't even get to the textbook yet. Go right to the lectures and check out my lectures that I do there. That's going to be all the main information to really focus on. And you can do a lot of the stuff from just those if the lectures are on there. Yeah. And then, so you've already got the questions from the discussion. You've already got exactly what the highlights video is saying to look out for. You've looked at my lectures. Then you could get to your reading. And if you just skim the chapter, go through the whole pages and see what direction's going on there, what the narrative is, right? If you're looking at a movie with a start to finish, a chapter in a history book set up a lot the same way. What's the beginning story and how's it going to go and where's it ending? That's a good thing to kind of think about. What are some of the main things we're talking about in the lecture and looking for in the discussion, and where can I find that in the chapter? Yeah. Then when you have an idea where those chunks are, then read it. Now, if you're really, really strapped for time, this is a great tool throughout your education because even me, history, if you see all my books behind me, have I read every single one of those pages? Heck no. But I know how to skim it really well. I know how to get the meat out of reading. And I could spend an hour now with one of those books and I can write a report on it because I've learned that. And that's something I want you to be able to learn in this class by doing that with a chapter. How to get the most out of that chapter without being overwhelmed and bogged down with the time that it takes to get through it if you did it just word by word. So that's something throughout this week. If we have 16 weeks, you could really develop that skill. And that's something besides awesome learning history that you could take with you for the rest of your life and definitely throughout your education and higher education. Okay. So that could be a useful tool, and try to do that. Try to get that momentum going. It's very formulaic and it's really useful. Now, always there's going to be the textbook, which you have downloaded, so it's really easy. Just go to the chapter, and then I have information of what to look for. And then there's additional readings. That, of course, is our primary sources or something else that brings the other substance. And that normally is going to be connected to the Monday discussion. The idea is you have the textbook and all the information for the week due by Friday, and then you have the extra stuff where I'm really making you an awesome historian with a little bit further material for the Monday. Does that make sense? So Friday is always the textbook, Monday is the additional stuff. You got that? So let's look at the discussion for week number 2. How you doing? Is this okay? Hopefully this is helpful. Let me know if you have any other questions along the way here. But let me finish with this. So if on your Monday discussion, so there's always a secondary reading. This one, you're looking at not the whole book. I chunked it into little readings, so just a couple pages, from Guns, Germs, and Steel and 1491. 2 amazing books. I talked about it in my highlights video, so I won't get into too much. If you click right on the book, it'll take you to the PDF. You could print it out. That's always nice, or you could read it right there, whatever works. But that is now you're getting into a historian. Here's the subject that you just read about in the textbook. You just read about the historical evidence of it. And here's 2 people who use that information and created a narrative. That's what history is. That's why the discussions are so important. When you put your own comments in there and say, this is what I think, and here's the evidence to back it up, and someone else in your small group is saying, I don't agree with that at all, or yes, I totally agree. That's what history does, and that's why it's always changing, because of your own worldviews of how you interpret the past all the time, right? So here's 2 people have the same information, talking about the same time period and the same sort of things going on, asking the same questions. Why are Europeans conquering these people? And they come up with 2 really different answers. So that's what I want you to look at. What are their arguments? Which one do you agree with? Please, please, please. If you get into, I'm going to end this in a minute, but if you get one thing out of this, please don't say a little bit of both. I agree with both of them. That is so boring. Pick one. Which one do you think of? If you had to choose, if you're like, you know what, the thing that really did it out of anything, the top thing that made Europeans conquer the Americas relatively easy is this. Don't say both of them. That's too easy. Try to get into the substance and then back it up with evidence of why. All right? So try to have a hard stance of one side or the other, if you can. All right, it's a good challenge for you. So I hope that works. If you can do that, and then the comments, the discussions, that makes it fun. And always the discussion, you have to comment on other people's discussions, but that is always after the due date of when you have to post the discussion, right? So if you go to your discussion and you post it, let's say it's due Friday, I expect you to comment on others, but not till after the due date. Why is that? Well, because everybody likes to turn things in at the last minute. If I said you had to comment on 2 people's posts before Friday, and it's due Friday, what's going to happen? Everyone's going to turn in their discussion at 11:59 p.m. on Friday, and you're going to be stressing out because there's no one there to make comments on, and you're thinking you're going to lose your points. That's why I have the comments due after. All right? Does that make sense? So it's due Friday, and that gives you really up until the following Wednesday to make comments on other people's and to dialogue. You know, if someone comments on it, comment on it back, and see and get some information going and learn that way. You're going to learn from each other, probably more than what you learn from me, because they're coming from different perspectives, and it's really nice to see different perspectives in a history class. All right? So I hope that makes sense. When you get to the modules page, just go from the beginning, work your way down to the different pages, and then and cut and paste those discussions so you can have them as notes to write on, and then just rock it. All right? Hope that makes sense. If you have any questions, please email me. I am always here to help you, and I love talking to you all. And you're doing great. We're in week 2. Rock it.